This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Of course, go to the Weird Renegade website, see the phone number there. Of course, hit me up in reference to 101 monthly lessons, lessons that I work with individuals very closely of different issues that's going on in their life or work and so on. However, you understand that I also do work and understand that work is separate from the 101 lessons, but we can incorporate it, but understand it's a separate cost in reference to those energies. In addition to, I'm not going to get all into it, but of course, I'm doing abortion spiritual counseling and dealing with certain frequencies behind the energies of abortion and dealing with yourself and how is that connected and remaining frequencies that's there. In addition to, of course, spiritual deprogramming. And spiritual deprogramming is more than just a occult life frequency, but just your daily life and the energies that you go through in relationships and more, and how you can be under cult like frequencies, just dealing with everyday people. Okay? But you already know that art is occultism. Occultism is a motherfucking art. And wayward is about that revenge, redemption, responsibility, and that motherfucking spell work, right? So there's some energies going on in the universal soul. And it's very interesting. And I've just kind of been watching. And I said, what kind of confusion and games is going on here? And I'm like, you know what? We have to blame ourselves as civilians and, as they say, common people, layman people, because there's people in this universe that ain't shit, and we're really, really, really pressed. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what's up with boomers and Gen X and older millennials? I'm like, what? Even if you stepped out of the church, how do you just forget bullshit? We should have fucking Christian scholars. We should have Bible thumping hoes. We should be like, what the hell is this? Because what is it? Isn't it according to Matthew and Mark, which is in the New Testament? Don't they talk about, or isn't it written about what is going to happen? Didn't the Lord direct you Bible thumping hoes and you Christian scholars about rumors of wars and rumors of this and the rumors of that and the rumors of this and the rumors of that? So therefore, we just forget about all what it says. But that's what happens when you're so busy looking at the orchestrated frequency and the circus. Okay? Because I was trying to understand some things. I said, there's a lot of things going on in air, but it's not happening on earth. There's so many rumors going on in these frequencies, and we're just all in confusion. But in my head, I need to make sense of this, because again, we're under the entity, we under the deity, we under this frequency of Muhammad. And I'm like, how is this happening here? But then all of this shit is happening here, but then the spirit says that we're not supposed to have a spirit of fear, and we're up here scared of some Muslims. We need our ass whooped. I thought about that shit. Oh my God, a sleeper cell. They are a sleeper cell. Like, you don't know how to shoot. You don't know how to fight. You don't know how to peep shit. You don't know how to throw as much as they know how to throw. Okay? Why are we in fear of these humans who are under the energies of Muhammad? Like, y'all out here scared as fuck of these people. Because they took down the world trade. Are you sure about that? Because I haven't seen a plane yet. I haven't seen a piece of a plane yet. Matter of fact, that interesting energy that happened in Tel Aviv of them taking that building down and talking about it was a missile. We just have questions here, right? So, Christian scholars and you Bible thumping hoes, I'm just wondering, where's your fucking discernment? And yes, I was directed. I said boomers, Gen X, and of course, older millennials, you fucking know better. Okay? Because I've been really looking at all of these Trump executive orders, right? And remember, I've said before, if he's convicted, wouldn't that consider it null and void? Like what is really kind of what's going on here, right? So therefore, he's doing a lot of shit that doesn't make sense. So therefore, Congress is saying, hey, he announced this war, as they call it, because I don't consider it a war. I mean, how can the shit been going on between them? So I don't understand how the United States get in. Now it's World War III. That's just went to the left, and that's just some fucking ritual. Because I was like, why is this different? And why and how come the energies with the World Trade Center was in World War III? How come this is World War III? Because this doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, right? So, I said, okay, I forgot, we're under a ritual, we're under the Jubilee. Okay, so all of this is happening under the Jubilee. Remember, I bring you back to Christmas Eve when they opened the holy doors, of course, in Rome or whatever, with, who is it, Pope Francis, who's seen creature features up in there, and he didn't know what the fuck, he didn't see all them demons fly. Next you know, he's a dead. So then they ran and replaced him with this Leo motherfucker. So then nobody know what the fuck he is. They don't know if he's Capone's son, grandson, nephew. They talking about he Louisiana, he black, he this and that. He look like he's an Indian. He look like he's a Jew. We don't know what the fuck that's what's going on with that. Then after that, he went and took the soul mounting of other popes with Leo, all that shit in the number system. People out here talk about allegedly Glorilla went to go meet the Pope. I don't know that. That's the Antichrist spirit, because that's a whole other energy there. It's just a whole bunch of weird business going on, right? So looking at all of this, I said, okay, Trump is allegedly supposed to be convicted, but you're getting kind of different stories. You have an energy that they got, that he wasn't convicted, he was convicted, but pretty much various attorneys are saying this man is convicted and he's a convicted felon. And I've kidded like, okay, what's the difference, da 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 da. But on the other hand, there's something interesting that I'm looking at. I said, wait a minute. If he's convicted, wouldn't that take him out of the law, out of we the people, out of federal entities? Wouldn't that make him a dictator? Because I remember in the past, I forgot what I said, but I was talking about, oh, he's under this, da 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 da. But okay, I'm going to put everything I've said on the shelf because I have fucking questions. If he's convicted, where is our civics people? Where is our political science people? Because I have conversation. I have questions. If he's convicted, would that take him out of government and create a new government of a dictatorship? Basically like a tyrant. So therefore, all of this federal shit, he could kaput. He could write all type of stuff. He don't have to go through Congress because he's a convicted felon and he's not under the same law. He's under a different law. He's not under we the people. He's not under any constitutions because he's a convicted felon, which takes him out of a different energy in reference to government. So if we look at Maxine Waters stomping up, and so on to the federal building, and they slammed the door in her face, and she don't know what's going on. She has fucking dementia. That was code for something, because notice how he's locked a lot of Congress out. He just locking people out. And I'm saying he, but we understand there's other energies behind him. He's just a face. He's just a nigga in jail. So but I'm just saying Trump, because everybody say Trump, but we understand that it's not Trump. So anyway, he's doing all this shit. We have unruly political people, public officials and so on, people you have voted into office and so on. But did you vote them in office, or did they just cheat and put them there? I don't know. So as you just kind of looking at his movements, I said, oh, this is a different government. This is a convicted felon government. This is a dictatorship, which brings in the Muslim people. And when I mean the Muslim people, I mean the Indians, the Middle Easterns, the Indonesians, and all of that. Because then it makes me look at the Indonesian and that Bali experience differently. Then you have parts of Africa, of course, that's under the Muslim effect. Everybody's under this Muslim effect. Okay, so we can understand there's an investment, and we understand that those different frequencies of countries are under dictatorship. South Africa don't know any better because you're under dictatorship, because they over there bringing in Islamic yoga energy. I had somebody in my comments talking about that yoga and the techniques of it, and Buddhism is the oldest Eastern religion. I'm paraphrasing. Fuck that shit. No, it's not. You're bamboozled. Okay? Y'all just go for anything. If y'all don't see the Egyptian frequency, as you guys call it, the Kemetic energies or whatever you want to call it, and the similar frequencies and movements is very much similar to the energies of India, and it all goes hand in hand. I don't know what else to say. Y'all just create all of this. Is the oldest technique. You don't know shit. They told you that. That's what they want you to know. You over there doing all that shit on loosening different frequencies in your body, and you don't even know what it is, and you think you're the master of it all, and you just don't know, because they're telling you this. These are cult, like this is Jesus like behavior. You guys out here acting like fucking Peter. You fucking Peter? Because everybody that followed Jesus end up always dead. Okay? So I see some of y'all out here don't have sense. So therefore your discernment is basically distorted because you're under Peter. So looking at this, I'm just trying to understand some frequencies. I mean, there's so many things going on. So we have this energy that's going on with Iran and Israel, which is ridiculous. I don't even understand how American people got up in that shit. Why are you pulling American people in something that's none of our business? Why are military people bringing cell phones and war energies recording themselves? Why in the fuck in Tel Aviv or whatever in Israel you have war parties? You have motherfuckers going, oh my God, and then they're in clusters. There's a whole bunch of people in one fucking room. Either they're in one fucking room or a hotel or whatever. They're in their apartments, but it's always a group of people, and they don't seem in fear or nothing, or in trauma or complex PTSD, seeing all of these energies. So what's going on? They're bombing empty places. He done sat up and told you that they bombed 3 nuclear locations or buildings. And I started to think, if they bombed 3 nuclear locations, wouldn't that be a horrifying explosion that we can see across the world? Wouldn't that be a chemical warfare? I mean, is he acting like Baby Bush when Baby Bush said those are evildoers? Is he acting like that we didn't understand why they allegedly went after Hussein and Gaddafi? This shit just didn't make sense. They've been after the Middle East for a minute, but then the Middle East is on bullshit because they are into other cult-like behaviors. I mean, I'm just asking questions because I remember an earthquake can fuck with a nuclear type of frequency and building and cause an issue. What is that exploded in the Ukraine and killed everybody just about? The nuclear warfare, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about in the Ukraine. Radioactive energies. There's different parts of the United States that is literally radioactive, from Detroit to the Bay Area. The Presidio. Treasure Island. We already know the baby. I'm just saying. Richmond. I'm just talking about the Bay Area. It's radioactive. Contra Costa. Parts of San Diego. What you talking about? So how in the fuck do you bomb 3 nuclear buildings and it is not a catastrophe? What, isn't that dangerous? Isn't that inhumane? Wouldn't that affect everyone around the world? The rumors of war, Matthew and Mark. And we not asking any questions. No questions. Like, this shit doesn't make sense. How did the United States butt into something that's none of their business? Why would a dictator want that land in the United States? Y'all, are we really sitting up here watching this shit and believing it? And then you have people who's causing hysteria and fear and warmongering behavior, a warmonger. These sleeper cells, they're here, they're in San Francisco, they're in LA, they're in Florida, they're over here, and who gives a fuck? Because all you gonna do is have people misdiagnose Mexicans as Middle Easterns and start beating these Mexican asses. You're a Middle Eastern. Because you know Mexicans look like Middle Easterns. So is that why in the Middle East they waving Mexican flags and speaking in Spanish and playing Mexican music? Because Mexico and the Middle East go hand in hand. See, remember during the World Trade Center, did we forget some of them pictures look like Mexicans? And everybody was like, that's very interesting. Some of them people don't look Middle Eastern. They look Latino. Huh? We're just talking. I'm just a crazy occultist. I think we forgot about that. How we were all like, because I was like, right? We have them so much trying to rewrite government that some kind of, who is this? Trump? This is what I'm talking about. What the fuck is going on here? And why are we even listening to this shit? Like, why do they keep putting this shit out? And it's psychological warfare is very much, we should sue the United States for this shit, the shit that they're doing to our brains. Trump judge gave an award to a paper that argued the Constitution was meant only for white people. So then you have this energy. Preston Demiski is a law student at the University of Florida. What's up with this Florida shit? Mar-a-Lago and all that shit, right? He is also a white nationalist and an anti-Semite. Last fall, he took a seminar taught by a federal judge on originalism, the legal theory favored by many conservatives that seek to interpret, I'm trying to read this, the Constitution based on its meaning when it was adopted. So therefore, now we the people means white people. For their motherfucking information, this is the shit I'm talking about when they sit up and write these dissertations and theses and then publish this shit, because that's what they done. They didn't publish his argument and then wrapped it, and now trying to say, see, this is why you need to understand the education, then rep that shit. So his paper, his argument is basically published probably for his dissertation or whatever he's doing to make him legit. So people be like, oh, he's so reputable. So now all he did was create an argument, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean it is true. What it sounds like to me is that they're trying to get rid of we the people and your constitutional rights and make you believe, if you are black or black American, that it is not under you. It's for white people. White people did not create we the people. So let's get it right, because white people were too ignorant within the government to create anything substantial. It was the melanated people who had the original government who created we the people, and they know this, and they buried them and killed them and basically took over and colonized. They know what it is, because the variations of ignorant, what we're going to say the Wigatronic people, who came from different parts of the world as immigrants, I don't even know how they got here, as immigrants, took over government. They said, wow, who are these people? Look at their government. They're speaking in their language. They go back to wherever they're from and came back with every damn body. Everybody came here was nosy. And I'm surprised that people haven't caught it. So when I'm reading this, I was like, do people really understand the government and who is here first? It cracks me up how people believe that Wigatrons are so intellectual and language. Y'all not, when they sit up there and said that we not going to teach black people to read, that is because black people were so intelligent and boule and created government. We cannot educate these people. They are overly educated. And they created government. The shit is in front of your face, but they're hiding it. That's why I told you, take your ass over there to that good Rome, wherever, the Vatican, that's hiding all that paperwork. They're even hiding the real people of Africa. I'm like, you guys over here talking about the Library of Congress? Go over there. They said who else knows shit are them fucking Mormons. Because they asses came over here cutting up with them damn Amish. Here, it was one government. Then you had all of these other people coming from around the world. So how are they going to create a government? How is some people from Philadelphia speak a certain way? Just like people from Boston. They barely knew language. They barely knew how to eat right. Black people was feeding them, keeping them nourished. So how am I supposed to trust that these people wrote We the People? We still trying to figure out who in the fuck wrote Willie Lynch. It must have been a scientist. Because that shit sure did roll the fuck out real good. By using drugs. So we're out here listening to bullshit. And everybody is always appointed by Trump. I said, what is this? Then I started looking at Hollywood. We only focus on the Orthodox Jews, right? Do you understand there's so many variations of these people they call Jews? Do you know there are Brazilian Jews, Brazilian German Jews, Persian Jews, Romanian Jews, Muslim Jews, Russian Jews, Ukrainian Jews? And when you look at your whole Hollywood scene, 90% of them are freaking Jews. Tiffany Haddish was raised by Jews. Lauren London, what is she? Y'all so much in Clive Davis' ass, what is he? They've been playing in our face all along. What are you talking about? Irish Jews. Ethiopian. And I hate to call them Jews, but I'm going to call Ethiopian Hebrews. So wouldn't it make sense for Nipsey Hussle to be with Lauren London, considering technically he's a Hebrew and she's a Jew? Sounds about right. They coming up with all of this shit. Fairy tales and mayhem. Tesla, wasn't it Nikola Tesla then reappeared? I said, what's the confusion? And Barron is a time traveler. Because he was already written because of Donald Trump. They just trying. I said, they just making up anything. They just have people here going around in circles. And my main question is, when are people going to figure out that Trump is autistic? I said, no wonder he and Elon was hanging with each other, allegedly. Because I started looking at him. I said, that man is autistic. He's hypersexual. He is barren. Then I was looking at, is it Eric Trump? I'm not sure. Which one? Is it Eric? I might be wrong. It's one of the sons. I figured it out. It is. It's Eric Trump. I said, Eric Trump is autistic. They always telling him to stop doing shit. Like, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. So I said, no. We have you guys over here talking about freaking Bush, baby Bush. So we done had a motherfucker in office with Alzheimer's whose wife can suck dick to capacity. We had a black man who was pretending to not be a black man in office. We had a man, I think, running for president one time. He had that one arm going, and he remember when he fell on that stage. Was that in the 2000s or late 90s? I forgot his name. And he was bam, and his arm was, funny looking. So anyway, just ignore me. So that was going on. So then we have some energies happening here of people who's been in office, who's been very interesting. We have cross-dressers and all. We have a person named Obama. We don't know if his mama white or Betty Shabazz. I'm trying to understand, because is he and Malcolm X really brothers or half brothers? What's going on? Because that's the alleged gossip, allegedly. Okay? So we don't know what's going on here. There's so much craziness. So I said, so is his, because I'm looking at Barron, I'm looking at Trump, I'm looking at Eric Trump. And this is all under the Jubilee. This is happening under the Jubilee. Look, this is under the Jubilee. This man, the inauguration happened after, since it happened after Christmas Eve, this man is under the works of the Jubilee. He's forgiven in their world. That means anybody who's done anything before the Jubilee is one thing, but after the Jubilee, meaning after the holy door is open and the Jubilee start, all your sins are gone. Bullshit. Don't try to use the frequencies of Leviticus in what is it in the Old Testament to give grace and mercy to niggas who are working in the New Testament. That doesn't make sense. Because Leviticus was created by man and not by the Lord, which is under a certain God. Because that means under Leviticus, then everyone should be punished and diseased. Meaning this, why are we listening to people who have HIV doing podcasts? Technically, under Leviticus, you are diseased. You only supposed to be talking to us when you go into your fasting and the Lord removes that from you. We are not supposed to hear men in dresses telling women to take PrEP. That means under Leviticus and under the Old Testament, you are supposed to be dealt with. And some of y'all don't want to hear that, but it is so. That is what is understood. You are not supposed to be walking the streets. Because you are considered unclean. See, they tricked you with that, the womanness and the woman. No, you. So then they created the Jubilee to give you forgiveness. So you could continue to walk the streets and tell women to get on PrEP. Because the Jubilee is about forgiving the underworld. But the Jubilee ain't got shit to do with me, because I don't believe in Leviticus. Because that Leviticus is giving too much open doors for men to do what the fuck they want to do, as they control women. Because women shouldn't be on no prep. And we should not be listening to any and whatsoever podcasts or energies that is connected to HIV and the push. We should be understanding what we can do to protect ourselves. And the face that they give for HIV are black people, but they're not showing you everybody else. They're not showing you the Asians, the whites, the Latinos. They're out here talking about the Latino community, especially the Puerto Rican and Dominicans, is HIV'd up with some AIDS up in there. Because, you know, HIV and AIDS are two different frequencies. You have children taking PrEP. And y'all are not peeping this. That's why I'm like, we're under the Jubilee. None of this makes sense. Trump doesn't make sense. They're out here talking about that Trump signed some shit where children, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, they cannot inherit their parents' house. I said, they can't do that. What you talking about? So now people in fear, oh my God, put your stuff in a trust. I got to see that in writing. I need to see the uproar. I'm just hearing it in air. Because how is that legal? Where are your legal scholars with that? Is that eminent domain bullshit? So you're going to come in after people then work their whole lives so their children could receive an inheritance and a house, and then you want to talk about no, that doesn't make sense. Talk about corporate entities. None of this makes sense. This is why I'm asking the question, is it because he was convicted and we under a different frequency of law? Right? And that's why this war shit doesn't make sense. Because he's making moves and decisions that's outside the scope. That's why I brought up Maxine Waters. I'm like, Maxine Waters don't know what the fuck is going on. She has dementia. Just like Clinton has dementia. And they keep walking these people around. Maxine Waters don't know what the fuck is going on. She is too old to even still be in Congress. You can clearly see that age is hitting her, and that's okay. But they're using her, and then have the audacity to talk about they gave her a fine. Does she know that money is being taken away from her? And some of you people be like, that's good, that's this, that's that. No. We got to understand what the fuck is going on. Because I said, they are really working in the book of Revelations. Then I started thinking, damn, is barren supposed to be the baby taken from the mother? With the dragon who was trying to eat the baby, and then they took the baby and gave it to God? I mean, is that what they're trying to emulate? And then Trump being the trumpets? As I'm just playing, but it's true. It's like they're playing in our face with the New Testament. So we're under Job, the prodigal son, Leviticus, Timothy, and Revelations. Damn. What else are we under? Right? And remember I said there's a difference with the Christ and the Christ. But again, this is all the Jubilee. I don't believe shit is happening. I believe that they're up there making something happen, but making it appear that it's happening, but it's not happening. Then I started tripping because then something else came up. Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump old interview came up. Who in the fuck is this Ivanka compared to the old Ivanka? The old Ivanka was a melanated young lady with darker skin, darker hair, she was dark. You could clearly see she was a melanated young lady. Who is this white woman? And she had a certain look to her and an appeal. And it's an uncomfortable appeal, meaning, oh my gosh, I could see men aggressively at this girl. And one of my spiritual constituents said, hey, I'm in her age group. And I remember she used to model, and she was always around a group of men. It was like men were after her when she was a teen. And she brought to my attention, she said, don't you remember when that weird picture came up about, when she was sitting on Trump's lap? I said, I know. I said, I don't know who this girl is, right? Y'all, if you could find old clips and old videos of the older, the teen Ivanka Trump, you will understand what I'm talking about. She almost looked Middle Eastern or some type of something. She almost looked like she's black. So I had to go back and look at Ivana. And I said, you know what? They don't look alike. Ivanka does not look like the mother. She kind of looked like Trump, but remember, Ivanka went haywire and came back looking different. Did we forget about that? Then there's a blonde cult under the world of Wiggertron. In the Wiggertron world, black women, you better watch out for these white women because they on the loose. There's something weird going on with the children of the damned. Karoline Leavitt, I'm invested. She's my guilty pleasure. She's a covert. It is weird when you hear her story. Where in the fuck did they get this girl from? Where was she groomed at? Because she's very groomed. She's about Trump. She lives for Trump. She can't go to sleep. They talking about she's married to her husband. She didn't have a baby and she's back at work after having her baby. They said she only gets a few hours of sleep, allegedly. She rides on Trump airplane more than Melania. What is happening here? And he seemed very fond of her. Then there's two more blondes. One is, I think, like an executive assistant to Karoline and some other white girl. And there's three blondes. I said, well, that's a ritual. Where'd they get them from? What's happening here? No, we better watch. They out here have fake ass prayer warriors speaking Tagalog. Talking about they speak in tongues, but they sound like they speak in Tagalog. I think under Paula White. So you have these white women thinking they break it down, prayer down to the ground, that they didn't probably set up in a black church and stuff and whatever. Because Paula White, you already know what she's done. And so anyway, they didn't set up and they're mimicking black people, thinking they speaking in tongues, praying for the president and all that. Trump know fucking well he needs some black people to be praying for him. He might have some in the back, and that's just a fucking front. Okay? Because he already knows that them prayers are going to go far. Call me wrong, I don't give a fuck. Those prayers are not going to go far. Those are not the mothers of the church. Those are not, they ain't praying on nothing. Those are just people in front that they have. So they have all these white women pretending to be prayer warriors. I've been prayed for before by some white folks. That's a different prayer. That's a different source of prayer. He has a whole wife that wears stilettos. I said, what in the world? I guess she's stuck in the 50s. When are we going to recognize J.D. Vance? Sometimes he looked pasty. Sometimes he's wearing eyeliner. I said, is this nigga wearing eyeliner? Or is that just his mask of brooding? And we could see the entity or the deity behind it. Because I told you, I said, he looked too much like John Wayne Gacy for me. His wife is a fake Jackie Kennedy. And why did his wife during the inauguration wear Melania's hand-me-downs? I just seen when what was that? In 2016, I said, that's the same. What is going on here? Where they have that hanging in a closet? Does that lady even know what's going on? Did they get her from India? I'm not being rude. I'm just like, what's going on? Her story don't seem, something not right. One of my spiritual constituents seen her ass up in Trader Joe's, I think in DC or Maryland. I said, why is she shopping up in Trader Joe's? J.D. Vance's wife. You not common. You're a vice president's wife. I be damned, I'm up in Trader Joe's. I'm not going to even front. Maybe that's why I'm not a vice president's wife. Shit, he may not see me. I'm on a trip. On taxpayers' money. I'm a whole scandal. What's her name? What's the Filipino woman name back in the day? Her and her husband, and they talked about her, and she had all them goddamn clothes up in her closet and shoes. That's me. I think she's a Cancer. Yeah, I'm a whole scandal. J.D. Vance, where's your wife? Oh, I'm on the taxpayers' dime. I'm gone. At least I admit it. We always seen her eating caviar and duck liver. That's outlawed. Yeah, on taxpayer money I am. She said the audacity to be drinking all that champagne and wine. Yep, on taxpayer money. Watch these people. The other weird shit is Did you guys, as you guys are distracted, did you guys have a clue that allegedly Jeff Bezos owns these damn news stations? Because I come to the conclusion that I believe the Middle Easterns own TikTok and Twitter. I said they are really, oh my gosh, that means we can't even look at news or anything like this is all fake. CNN, Fox, all that. There's some shit going on with Paramount. News stations. What's that guy? He was that, is it That's Incredible? That Allen, that black man that's like a trillionaire that just won a lawsuit. I forgot. I think the show is called That's Incredible back in the day. The black man that was on That's Incredible. You guys don't know, his name is Allen something. And how people getting terminated, anchors and newscasters and whatever. I said, damn, they are really trying to monopolize the news. We might as well just get pen pals. Because we're not going to get anything real here. Just go on and write a letter, get a pen pal. So we could get some real news and talk to each other. I'm noticing on YouTube, they putting up all type of weird shit. People dying, people lying. It's all type. The one that's really whooping me is the one with that, what's her name? That Jackie Christie. They done sat up and lied talking about her daughter don't belong to Doug. I say you could clearly see that's his fucking daughter. What type of bullshit? She a lesbian. She got DNA. I'm like, oh Lord. Right? So with Jeff Bezos, Amazon, medical Amazon, now this man doesn't know shit. This man started off in his damn garage shipping. What the fuck is happening here? Matter of fact, why did Trump even go to the Middle East? Well, the likes of him, because, you know, he's convicted. None of that, it seemed, they were talking about people who dropped out of college or dropped out of school. Oprah dropped out of school. We know they talk about Jay-Z dropped out of school. Bill Gates, Jobs. I say all these people, wait a minute, I'm confused what's going on. What the fuck is Jeff Bezos? Now him and that Skeletor is supposed to be getting married. And people is protesting like they don't want them around. He's supposed to be suing Katy Perry because that lie they told didn't work. So now he blaming Katy Perry, suing her. Everybody laughing at them with that lie. With that fucking dildo vibrator shooting up in the universe. And then landed that capsule and she was overly. Or are you angry that we seen that alien or whatever that was up in there? We don't know what the fuck you brought down. Just like them other people who was in the universe, probably down in the water though. Who's that? Those two people that was stuck in a capsule and it reshaped the Indian woman's face, allegedly. She looked like a whole witch. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. You got the French president getting caught with dope. The French president, the British prime minister, and a German chancellor was up there sniffing and doing freebase and then tried to hide it. You heard I didn't say crack, I said freebase. Did you see that shit? And he tried to hide that shit. I said, or was it heroin? Which one? I don't know. They done sat up and caught the damn Indian lion. He wasn't even on the Air India plane. All them people died with different professional people on there and scientists, allegedly. This man talk about he lived. They found out that nigga was a whole liar. I said, see, he was trying to get that lawsuit money, but I don't blame him. Because I was thinking about saying I was on there too. Shit. I said, see? They talking about he wasn't on the passenger manifest. I said, a passenger manifest. That's spell work. They're out here talking about these women. They talking about rich people, women, their wives and shit are looking, they call it Mar-a-Lago faces. Sunken eyes, full lips, lifted brows, and they called it muddy complexion. I said, a Mar-a-Lago look. I've been seeing that look over here. I told you these women be out here looking like lions and tigers. That's the standard. You don't see it too much in the Bay Area, but you sure see it the fuck out here. I was telling somebody, I said Southern California is a whole hack. I said I was healthier in San Francisco. The Bay Area is much healthier. Like for real. Southern California is not healthy. They just get plastic surgery and hide that shit. Because I'm like watching, I'm like, I don't get what's going on here. These people they aren't healthy. They just get a whole bunch of surgeries and their bellies frozen, fat frozen, arms frozen, cut off, lips done, whatever. The new product, new shots, And then go to the gym and work out their plastic surgery. They don't go to the gym beforehand and then get plastic surgery, for weight loss or whatever. I rock with it. I get it. They get plastic surgery done first and then go to the gym. So I've been seeing that Mar-a-Lago face. Have y'all? So now I figured out why their rhinoplasty and that Chinese eyes. These people out here looking like the brats. Because I started comparing, because they was talking about this Fashion Nova model. I said, oh yeah, I remember her. Wait a minute. Oh wow. Look like a whole brat. What they call brats. They're in control of everything. We might as well not even look at the media. We can't listen to nothing. That's why I say, get you some pen pals. This is why it's important to know people in different places so they can tell you the truth. That's how I know about the Middle East in connection with Saudi Arabia. Because I was like, hey, what's going on that I keep seeing? Oh, they just like they cool with China. Just like they cool with Israel. I was looking at an old clip of Kanye West. How come we never peeped that new Kanye West that they brought out was speaking like an Indian? And who's that? What's that girl name? Is it Tyler? The one supposed to be from South Africa? She's a fucking hack. She's a whole Indian. I thought you said she was an Afrikaner or a colored. That girl, whole Indian. Just like that was a whole Indian pretending to be Kanye West. And what's going on with Kanye West's wife? She was up in that damn candy. I don't understand the art of her. I was talking about the Jubilee, and I was talking about the energies of HIV, and I mean that. They need to stop promoting HIV. Stop promoting it. It is unhealthy and it's unsafe for us. And under Leviticus, we are not supposed to be connected to it, right? But who else should be caught up in under the Old Testament is Krishan. She needs to be punished for what the fuck she did to her child. First of all, she's under Ezekiel, and I forgot the other one. But regardless, she's under the Old Testament. My other guilty pleasure is me looking at Krishan's son. And yes, I'm being rude and I don't care. Because we need to stop playing. I said her son looked like the Garbage Pail Kids from back in the fucking 80s. Go look up the Garbage Pail Kids. I'm not being rude, but I'm rude. This Chucky is not growing or nothing. And then it made me think about my grandmother's business. Mind you, I came at the end of everything, meaning, but I've seen this. Like, what is going on here? And she's always holding this baby doll. What are we looking at? How come this child is not walking at least? What's happening? And I sat there for a moment. These doctors sat up and was recommending that women could drink wine during pregnancy, especially red wine. And you have to be careful because wine is not real wine anymore because there's arsenic and different antibodies in it that's very harmful. Especially many red wines could be toxic, you know, so we have to be very careful. And I don't remember everything because I took this wine class because, you know, my ass like to drink. And I wanted to understand the variations of champagnes, wines, rosés, and so on. And they were telling us and showing us the difference between fake red wine and real red wine. And they were talking about how some of them, of course, are made with powdered forms of energies. So I said, why would a woman drink at all? I wouldn't even want to smoke or nothing. Then they recommended that women, if you have nausea, you could smoke weed. I said, why would you want to smoke weed during your pregnancy? Right? So we literally watched Krishan abuse her baby within. I am currently on a case. I'm going to say a CPS case. And they take children away for less. Technically, and what I mean I'm on a CPS case, I'm working hand in hand with someone that's going through some things. And when I'm in it, I'm listening to what's going on in the different frequencies. Because, you know, I sit in with lawyers all the time because I'm working with my clients as their advocate. And as a common layman person, they have an interesting perspective when it comes up to us. In reality, because she abused her child, they would have came in and took her child at birth and arrested her for child endangerment. Factual. How come Krishan was not arrested? We seen what she was doing. We understand what she was doing. Why is it in our world, laymen's, civilians, that's what they do to us, but they don't do that to them? No, she's under the Old Testament. She need to be punished for what she has done to her son. And you're like, who are you to say? I'm saying it because I'm working out the Old Testament. I am a Christian scholar. I'm a Bible thumping hoe. I'm going to look at it for what it is. She falls under. She's not under. Fuck this Jubilee. She not no. You're bringing in new energies. All these girls. Y'all don't understand what's going on. In a minute, they are going to regulate being a doula and midwife because they don't trust y'all. Do you understand, in the chaotic world of the judicial system, they do not like, in the world of social services, midwife and doulas and homeschooling, because they feel and believe and know factual that you're harming your kid. If you don't want your kid in the school system, then you're harming your kid. If you want to say, fuck these hospitals, I call those undocumented children. Okay? You must be harming them. But that's the part that's fucked up, because you do have a lot of abuse going on. And in the conscious community, they really fucked it up. These people want to regulate, and that's why they have Indian women coming in, taking nursing classes, and now being midwives, because they're going to be mandators, or they're going to report your ass. And they're going to keep track of you. And they're going to take your information and report it to someone. I'm literally listening to legal scholars who believe that you don't have the right to have a midwife. Because they can't document you. And there's too much cult-like frequencies happening. And it didn't help with that shit with Summer Walker and that starved child she had, and supposed to be under Erykah Badu, who's supposed to be some kind of doula. Understand, a midwife and doula are two different frequencies. And all of this and Krishan goes hand in hand. No, Krishan needs to be dealt with, because then now we're seeing her in another frame with a fucking pacifier in her mouth. And I don't believe, for me, that is Blueface's kid. I'm looking and I'm like, I don't think so. As I step back into this war, I heard something on social media that was very interesting. And a man said, how in the hell does a person or people who makes $700 an hour convince a person who makes $25 an hour that someone who makes $7 an hour is a problem. I said, that is profound, and that is true. Because it is the person making the $25 an hour running their mouth about the $7 an hour to the person making $700 an hour because they want favor from the $700. There's always a middle. Okay? Because this war is nothing, is all it is they call it a war. It's just about some money. We don't even know what's going on, and it ain't got shit to do with us, ain't got shit to do with black people, nothing. We've already been sold. There's people out here recording something called an IED in over there, whatever battle they're in. And it makes a horrible sound. I said, why are you in the field of war and you're recording shit? The fuck? They were talking about Mark Rubio's is trying to restructure something that's European called the Office of Re-Immigration. And the Office of Re-Immigration is to kick out people who immigrated here. So the way they make it appear is, we're going to kick out black people because y'all came from Africa. Bullshit. Ain't shit got shit to do with us. As a matter of fact, Mark Rubio's, where in the fuck are you from? You see that? What? Everybody just need to shut the fuck up. All these motherfuckers come here as immigrants and have the audacity to recreate the rules. To be honest with you, we don't know where in the fuck Africans came here. That's why I brought up Jamaica and Haiti. No. There's energies that came from Africa into those Caribbean islands. But still we still don't know, because then you have Euro blacks that went into islands. We don't know what's going on because they lie. We're seeing it in front of our faces. Mexico was named Cuba at one time. I told you I have one son, and alleged DNA saying he from Central and South America with native. I said, Lord, I was like, I don't know who kid you are. I don't know who that is. And the other one from Cameroon and Europe. I don't know who that is. So it must be your daddy or something. I don't know who that is. You don't know what the fuck is going on. That's why I told you my family background a little bit. That's why I told you my father's family, finding out their people came out of Mexico, was living in San Diego. And then into Texas. They were in Mexico, they went into San Diego, and they went into Texas. From Mexico. Then somebody said, oh, that's them Nigerians. No, it's not. Excuse me? Where you going to send me back to Mexico? Which one? Where you going to send me back to the Nile River? Where am I going? Where you going to send my kids back to one to Central and South America, the other one to Cameroon? Where in the fuck we going? We ain't going anywhere. Don't let them play games with you, with this bullshit. I told you we under the Jubilee. Black people out here mad at white girls, at wiccatrons. Because white girls out here stealing different frequencies of black women and their cowboy dancing and all of that. And angry that these white girls are getting paid and black people pumping these white girls up. That's the point. You got the black people pumping them up. But the bottom line is that why don't black people mind our business and support our own and start paying motherfuckers with our own? And stop trying to use niggatronics behavior. See, white people pay white people. But black people be like, go girl, look at her, she could do it. Because they niggatrons. They love that wiccatronic shit. That's what that is. When you see niggatrons hyping up the wiccatrons, that's exactly what it is. Call them what they are. That's a niggatron. She could dance. Ooh, she thick for what? You know what really cracks me up is when these black guys sit up and try to talk about black women and white women. I mean black women with white men. Y'all need to stop that. Because y'all very interesting with these white women. Very interesting. And then feel if you got yourself a biracial, she black. I'm cracking up at these black women getting mad at white boys. At least white boys are more respectful than the rest of these motherfuckers and Mexicans and shit. They want to force white boys to like black women. And the guy, I was listening to something, and the white boy is very polite. He said, oh, you know, I'm just not attracted to black women. You know, maybe biracial, but I try, but I'm just not attracted. Just like that singer dude. Everybody's like, oh, he was racist because he said his penis doesn't get hard off of black women. That's okay. How come people can't have their preference? Why is it they have to be racist? Y'all got it fucked up, millennials and Gen Zs. Why is it a white person have to like you? Why is it a white man have to like a black woman? He doesn't have to. I'm not attracted to no white motherfuckers. I can say, oh yeah, they're cute, but because then I'll get all scared and be like, ooh, are they uncircumcised? I'm just being like, what's going on? I'm not interested. It's not racist, it's a preference. You know that Nora Smith? Isn't she a whole apple? I think her husband is German. No, she's German. I think he's South African. You know that Nora that be talking real slow and pretending like she's cooking and really skinny, but she has lupus and shit, and she's always pregnant, but then eat Chick-fil-A. I said, she's a whole hack. I said, she's a model, huh? And then they created this atmosphere for her. Because I was like, how's she making all that money to have 25 houses? Some of that shit she make is annoying as fuck. Like her fucking cereal that she puts ice in it and vanilla. I said, that take too much time to be making some fucking fruit roll-ups. I don't got the patience. What mother has the patience? This bitch then went outside and killed the cow, grained his ass up, and made sausage from scratch. I said, how you do all that in an hour? This girl made some damn cereal in 20 minutes. This girl got up at 1 o'clock in the morning and made a whole meal. She is a keeper. Black people out here angry because they're stereotyping black people with AI. My question is, who in the fuck are these people? Where did they get the likes of them? Are these dead women? Are these dead black people? Who in the fuck is in what's happening here? And why aren't more black people talking about them stealing the likes of you and then creating stereotypes and propaganda? But what I'm very interested is that means everything is fake. That means that story with Carmelo Anthony is fake. That means that is Karoline Leavitt. That means all that shit is not real. Do you know, I remember I said this to you before, like, that's very dangerous. They could make the likes of you and say that's you and it's not you. But I'm more interested are those of dead people. Where are they getting these energies from? Right? Did you guys ever think that some of this movement for racial warfare is because they don't want any more race mixing? They want pure. They want black people with black people, white people with white people in America, Latinos with Latinos. They don't want any more biracial people. Save that for Africa, where we can do a scientific experiment and keep recreating. And Ireland and stuff like that, push everybody different places, but we don't want no more race mixing in America. And maybe also the white people have an issue with the Mexicans because the Mexicans are too highfalutin. You heard about the Mexicans bombarding the Juneteenth festivals? And people believe that they're throwing spellwork. It was throwing spellwork at black people at the Juneteenth festivals. In Louisiana, I heard that the Juneteenth festival, your governor didn't invest or donate, but he's investing in some kind of Hispanic festival. Did y'all hear about in Los Angeles that the month of July is going to be Muslim Heritage Month? I rebuke it in the name of period blood. Because you're not going to come in the month of fucking July. I hear you, honorary June Cancerians. You are not going to take away our month shared with Leo. Our month for this shit. So Cancerians, since we are the gatekeepers, we got to push that energy away because that has nothing to do with us. I don't know what is a Muslim Heritage Month. Excuse me? Isn't that a religion? I don't get it. That's a sponsor. That's who bought Hollywood. That's why Hollywood is fucked up. How in the hell do you come? I'm gonna be real rude. You gonna come to Los Angeles, Jewtown, do that? But I forgot there's Muslim and I told you the confusion. See the confusion in front of your face? That's why shit fucked up in LA, y'all. That's why shit fucked up in San Francisco. And if some of you will be like, she's ignorant as a motherfucker. I am. I am a Cancerian and I don't want to share. I feel something like that should not be connected to us. We don't like that energy. And just for that, I'm going to drink all fucking month. And matter of fact, I'm going to start this week. I'm going to drink and eat pork chops. Then I'll be complaining, saying I'm shaped like a pig. Allegedly. And some of y'all like, what kind of witch is this? Well, not for everybody. Did you see Morgan Freeman with all them white folks surrounding him? Is that even Morgan Freeman? Did you see Kelly Rowland? How she was up in Cardi B's face? I don't like that Cardi B. She need to stop talking about Offset. I don't need to hear baby daddy business as she gallivants in the universal soul with a man and her babies. You're not such a great mother yourself. Did y'all hear this weird shit about them men wanting to harm what's his name? Kobe Bryant's wife, because they think she's pregnant. So they're sending her allegedly threatening messages to take her life from her. The fuck? Going back to the war again, they were talking about the hypersonic missiles. I think that's what I was talking about, like hypersonic. Is that what hit the World Trade Center? We were talking about explosive, but some people saying that they really didn't see the plane hit the World Trade Centers. They seen bombs and missiles. What the fucks? And what the hell is the Iron Dome? This is getting wilder by the moment. San Francisco getting upset because they don't want niche communities. I said, what the fuck is a niche community? I hate that word niche. Well, how come it's just not a niche? Niche. Right? And then they said those are Los Angeles communities. They're trying to build San Francisco like Los Angeles? That be Simone with her shenanigans, knowing that she's sponsored by H&M. I don't know why y'all believe in that fake prophetess. She's a false prophetess. She's under the Jubilee. Talking about, I'm broke, I'm crying, I'm broke, I had to shop at H&M. Bitch, they sponsoring you. I wouldn't give a fuck if you go to Goodwill, wash them clothes and put it on. Who gives a fuck? Are they endorsing you? What's going on? H&M clothes are raggedy. Those are what they call those, fast fashion. I told y'all she was an insurance hustle when she went to the Bay Area. Talk about she got bipped. I said, oh, that's an insurance hustle. Why are we even listening to her? That's y'all problem. Y'all give people mercy and grace. The spirit doesn't. Y'all do. She thinks she's under James Cleveland. She thinks she giving James Cleveland inner energy. Y'all out here listening to Black China talking about she didn't close down some makeup places. Yeah, because they not hustling anymore. That was a hoax place that she had, whatever she had. That's on the same lines as the the wholesale places downtown LA. That's just showing there is something going on in her place that was interesting and illegal. There once motherfuckers deported and whatever else, she closed that shit down. Because she's still on TikTok late night selling that wholesale makeup. She's selling wholesale makeup and jewelry. Black China. So don't listen to anything she's saying. That's why I still call her Black China. She had to get rid of them white vans. What's up with Steve Harvey in Paris? Because you know he Muslim now, according to he don't even talk. I don't think that's Steve Harvey. I've never seen Steve Harvey act like that. He just walks in. They read in and out into high-end stores with his wife. His wife is a horrible dresser. You notice that? He under ritual. I'm like, oh, he Muslim now. I'm not about to trip on this man. Matter of fact, I don't even think that's Steve Harvey. Remember I was talking about the EOP shit? Let me tell you something. I'm going to loop back. Remember I was saying that I kind of have some understanding of highfalutin Mexicans. In this world, as they say, money, power, and respect. And we learn those philosophies because we believe money brings power and respect, but it really doesn't. I was listening to this Mexican woman, and we got to be careful of them. They are elitists. Though they are the real elitists and caste system. We have to be careful of people because they're creating a philosophy that's fucked up, especially towards Black people. I was sitting in on something with my client, and I'm listening to this woman, and she kept throwing words at my client, talking about poverty and poor. And I had to ask, how do you know this woman is impoverished and poor? Well, it's because of this. And she's a Latina. I grew up in poverty. And I grew up this way. And I grew up that way. And I went to Harvard and UCLA. And I did this and I did that. And now I'm retired. And I used to be this and I used to be that. And now I'm retired and I make this money now and I'm just helping the peons and the poor. She was angry that she felt I wasn't respecting her enough because of her title and degree. And I said, I'm a spiritual psychologist. I'm a religious scholar. I have certificates here, this. What am I supposed to give a fuck about someone's degree when they sat up and gave Fat Joe an honorary degree and now this nigga being sued? They gave out honorary degrees to motherfuckers. And I'm supposed to look up to that? These people want respect, but in the wrong way. That's not how that works. And we have to be careful because these people like her are in the system. And I'm going back and forth with her because I'm talking about respect. Because at the end of the day, when your money is gone, are people going to respect you? I talk about this all the time to the people that I work with. Are people going to respect you? They're not. That's why everybody in the industry is fucked up. Because they just looked at your money, thought it was powerful, and gave you respect. Now you're a has-been. They don't give a fuck about you. That's why you're so easy to be counseled. Because there isn't any respect. She wanted to force me to respect her. Black women go back and be degreed up. A spiritual constituent was telling me a guy she's dating was getting his master's degree, I think at the University of Massachusetts. And when he tried to get his PhD, they denied him. They can't deny you of you getting your fucking PhD, wouldn't sign off on shit. Don't let them start playing you black people on your fucking PhDs. Because I had another client that they tried to play her at Columbia with her PhD, and we had to get that work going. Because they was playing some cold games. Okay? These people out here and these third world people or people who believe they were impoverished, and when they have a little bit of something, they look down on you, black people and black women. And they want you to respect them. It's a caste system. You're going to respect me because I got the money, power, and respect. You're going to respect me. Fuck you, bitch. And that's what I talk about with deprogramming. We have to deprogram ourselves from that. Do you understand there's people who look up to Trump and don't realize money, power, respect? You guys are respecting something that's unreal. And they want to force it to happen. And when you have less than and they try to cause impoverishment, they want you to respect them as they step on you. In the spirit, it says your enemies will be your stepping stool. How is it we, the people, become the enemy? When they are the enemy, that's why they talked about the energies of the triangle or the pyramid in the back of the dollar, of the CNI. You got that one energy at the top manipulating the full energy at the bottom, and the people at the bottom of the pyramid are the people who know the truth, but you don't know that you know the truth. That's a cold game and a cold piece of work and a cold piece of spell. There's an epidemic going on as we talk about Leviticus and Timothy. Men are causing infection in women. Women are taken sick who just had babies. Men are trying to have sex with women with their dirty ass dicks after a woman had been out the hospital, vagina sewed up and everything, trying to have sex, and is causing infection. It is increasing. That young couple won $2.25 million in reference to in Georgia when the doctor decapitated a baby's head. When the baby got stuck, instead of doing a cesarean, she tried to pull and decapitated the baby's head. I said, they only got $2.25 million? Was this a real story? Because that's not enough money. You just killed and murdered that woman's baby. Is this a real story? You have women complaining about men being, they saying getting in the shower with your man is abuse. They say he's in your space and he's trying to do spell work on you when his ass is up in the shower with you. And women are upset saying that they about tired of you men's up there peeing on them in the shower. They said he has a hive mind. I had to look that up. I said is this a new psychology word? I said, okay. So I said, a hive mind. I said, oh shit, they just saying the nigga controlling you. I said, what? And the woman was distraught. He did this, he did that in the shower. He can't want to take a shower with me, and I didn't want to take a shower with him. And I said, Lord have mercy, what's going on with this spirit? So then I started looking at water and spirit, and is he mounting something? I don't know. I got caught up. I said, I didn't know taking a shower with your man is abuse. I said, is that why on Tubi they always having them shower scenes? There's something to it. Did y'all see been rolling around on social media the hearing of about those vaccines during the pandemic, the vaccines they was trying to make people take, and they was talking about in the hearing that after autopsy, I guess that was a whole study to vaccinate people so they can, study them, that they was talking about 73.9 died from the vaccines. They're trying to say, who's that lady? The white woman that was on the food channel with the kind of bleach blonde hair. They're trying to say that maybe she died from that energy. I'm trying to look. Let me see. From the food channel. She recently died. Anne Burrell. First they said they seen a whole bunch of pills around her. Now they're saying that she was vaccinated. Which one is it? It's like Portia. They just die of the suspicious death and they just be like, huh? Like Portia from the Real Housewife of Atlanta. Her niece or somebody, her cousin or niece died. And they said just unexpectedly, they don't know. What is going on here? Stop lying. They were talking about there's a school in Virginia that's injecting white children who have ADHD with COVID shots, allegedly. And they said it's been going on, and apparently the parents give permission that if their child act like a rabid dog, just take them in the damn nurse's office and then inject them with some kind of medicine. But the nurse allegedly been injecting them with the COVID vaccine, which caused them to act more like a rabid dog with rabies, allegedly. These white kids in Virginia. They say if when their child have an episode. Everybody talking about the black man who was hung in a tree in Albany. And people were taking pictures and recording it. And people are now believing that the police and fire department is part of these energies and lynchings, allegedly. But when I was looking at it, I said, that man don't even look real. He looked like a dummy. They're bringing up Kanika Jenkins again. Talking about some man named Macho killed her. I'm like, why don't you all just fucking admit that they hired a gang to kill this girl and she was prostituted out? And there's some allegations of organ harvesting and put her in a freezer, allegedly. And her mother being an Eastern Star and her mother's boyfriend being a truck driver. Just cut it out. Too many people around this situation ended up dead and shut down. It was this white girl, or look, I don't know, Latino or white girl, talk about she had a chemical abortion from Planned Parenthood. They call it medical abortion. She said when she said she took these 4 pills, and when she took the 4 pills, she said she had really bad cramping, and she said she went in the bathroom. I'm assuming she sat on the toilet, and she said the whole baby came out of her vagina, and the baby heart was beating, and the fetus and all of that stuff, and her fingers. I said, you deserve to go to jail for murder. Then she said that she still wasn't well, so she had to go to the doctors, and basically they had to do, I guess, a DNC, but basically a birth. And apparently the placenta was rotting inside of her with the umbilical cord. Then you're wondering why I have the energies about the abortion. And you will wonder, damn, will she say that to a person? Yes, I will. How far were you really along, and why would they give you pills? What the fucks? They were talking about this social media influencer named Isabella Jackson, and but on social media she calls herself Luna May, Lunamei. Apparently she's in 2022 she stabbed Melinda Powell 19 she here I'm going exaggerate 9 times, talking about it was self-defense. So she got off, did plastic surgery, changed her whole look, and she's been forgiven. And then now she's on podcast talking about how she murdered this black girl. Meanwhile, they're with this story with Austin Metcalf, and this interesting energy with Carmelo Anthony, which we still don't know if this story is real because of the mugshot being of Kyran Lacey and more. And this is a whole mess. I said, okay, so she intentionally and purposely killed this black girl, stabbed her 9 times, and she gets this Luna Mai gets a pass, as Isabella Johnson gets a pass. Meanwhile, this other story, he doesn't get a pass because he's black. I'm still listening to this story. It still appears to be fake, a hoax. And then now the school has video. I went back and started listening to that story again of the dead woman who produced a necromancy baby, and them doing that necromancy work, that witchcraft, we'll say, but it is necromancy. The black woman who they incubated and had a dead woman deliver that necromancy baby. I was talking to someone and I said, they've been doing scientific frequencies on black women for so long. I said the whole crack era was a whole scientific study, because it was a scientific study because black women didn't eat while they were smoking crack, but somehow some of them would deliver healthy babies, even though crack, it's weird, even though they wasn't eating and smoking crack. And then there's this energy and big deal about the placenta. So then I started doing research where the placenta can basically feed off of the woman's stored fat and still receive nutrients that will connect to the umbilical cord. And I wondered, I said, was this alleged child feeding off the mother's stored fat tissues? But the mother's stored fat tissues, they're dead. So what else is going on? Because during the crack era, a lot of that was going on. The woman wasn't eating, but the babies wasn't starving either in some cases. Y'all should study that era in childbirth. And how some children were still growing in mother, because I think if you smoking crack, you are a dead woman. But how they were surviving off the placenta, connecting, of course, the umbilical cord, but how some of the fat in the woman's body was helping, I guess, feed the umbilical cord and placenta. Because I've been trying to figure this out. But any woman this happens, that's a necromancy baby. Anyway, this is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done.